Get to
Do, do,
it.
do, 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 do. Yeah, yeah,
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Brandon.
I'm Amani.
And we're here to talk about the mess that is America.
All of
But
it,
not
like the whole
all of it.
thing.
Today's episode is definitely a little bit more, it's just talking about the recent event that happened over the weekend and talking about, of course, Senator Lindsey Graham passing away, which was quite shocking. And I don't know necessarily if I would categorize it in terms of our how we talk about the mess, but it's just to talk about something that happened. And I think part of the reason why, and we'll just get into the discussion, is I think Lindsey Graham is definitely a figure that affected millennials for sure. I think he is one of those senators that I think many millennials grew up knowing about. Whether you found yourself on the right or the left, he was a figure in the political system that was both a caricature, a very southernly, somewhat flamboyant man that you could make fun of, or also he was surprisingly very staunch Republican at times and held to a very old, outdated model and was a big, big lover of Trump. And so it's in a very interesting time to find ourselves in.
Yeah, and similarly to, the vice president, he flip-flopped about Trump. I mean, which I still find to be so interesting that people on public record who said these never Trumper people somehow became Trumpers. And it kind of gives you, it's unfortunate, but I don't really understand that strategy in general. Um,
Me neither.
I mean, whatever you do behind closed doors, whatever, that's fine. But when you say things publicly on the public record and everyone sees it, then all of a sudden it's like, never mind, I'm the opposite of that. I just find it interesting that Trump hasn't inspired a brand of shameless hypocrisy that is just now it's just normal.
Yeah. And I think in some weird way, I feel that there's this Christmas Carol, if you will, experience that's happening for many Republicans where they're being faced with reckoning with those choices that I think ultimately the big one will be when it comes for Trump, which I think is happening. And you can see how Trump is acting these days. And I think his loss of Lindsey Graham also, once again, puts him through a spinner of, yeah, man, you're old and you're not the healthiest person. And you have really, yeah, you may live your life in the media and in the world and seem like you can continue to lie, but I think behind closed doors, Trump, when you're by yourself, that's a heavy weight to be. And I feel like you have made a lot of choices and hurt a lot of people, and those weights, I think, are heavy on you. So, I mean,
Both
that's just to me.
literally and figuratively. Are you okay?
Truly, truly, and I think that's what's kind of crazy because to not get so caught up in the Trump because we'll talk about him and we'll probably talk about this, but I think going back to just Lindsey Graham in general, I don't know why the playwright in me wants to write the final days of Lindsey Graham and almost write a Christmas Carol type of a play because I just feel like it was shocking to wake up yesterday and to see that and to think then like okay, everyone at first was conspiracy theorists in the beginning. It's like, did Russia do it? Did they poison him? And I maybe who knows?
It doesn't sound that unlikely. And, we've talked about this. I mean, yes, it seems unlikely. Like that seems outrageous, right? Like who would do that? But totalitarian people have been doing that since the totalitarian playbook was played.
Right.
forever. And that's kind of the point, right? Is that, oh, this is so unexpected. It's unbelievable. It's outrageous. There's no way that happened. And that's kind of the way it works.
It does. And then to play a little devil's advocate with ourselves on this, I also feel like he was a 71-year-old man, and many men die of heart attack around that age. Like that is also a very big truth. And I don't know Lindsey Graham's eating habits. I've never seen like, but nor do I see the guy look like he's working out. So for all I know, it's easy to say because he was a smaller, not like he wasn't very overweight looking guy. He just seemed like a very normal sized person. Doesn't mean he didn't have heart problems. Doesn't mean that he couldn't have had those issues. So I think it's mired in the idea that if he did, this is exactly how they would do it, and they would lead us to make it in a way that it seems very natural causes. But on the other alternative, he could have just literally just died, and perhaps the weight of the world could have done it too. I mean, he was just
I
in Ukraine.
absolutely agree. Yes, he was just in Ukraine. And I don't think it's healthy for anyone to have to live an entire public life of lies. That's got to be stressful for a normal person. Um, it, I can understand why that wouldn't be sustainable. Um, and it's unfortunate. And to be perfectly honest, like I, it's not like I have love for the guy, but I also would I call it empathy? Yeah, I'll call it some amount of empathy for the amount of pressure, both publicly and privately, that he's had through his entire career to spout all this vitriol and hatred that ultimately probably felt pretty inwardly hypocritical all the time. Like that has to eat at you. And I feel like it's unfortunate that he was in a circumstance that that's what he felt he had to do. Like I don't know exactly what that's like, but it seems like it probably sucks.
Yeah. And I think Republicans have been playing this kind of type of politics for a very long time. But with the last decade, there I think with Trump, it has cost them a lot more morality and um
And
having
common
to play,
sense.
yeah, and having to play the lie even more abstractly. I mean, you can just see how, like, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, the way he has to spin the speak every time, and it's like, well, the guy's younger, and he clearly is willing to go farther. That's what's scary about the people that are supporting Trump that are younger. They have the longevity and are coming in at a different time where they're willing to take the lie longer. But like Lindsey Graham has been that type of Republican, and even well before Trump, he did play that type of kind of staunchiness when he wanted to misdirect people and be the Republican, and there were lies. And then I just think he had to pay the Pied Piper, which was Trump requires you to lie so blatantly now, like to the point that I think that doesn't feel good. Like to your point, Amani, I just think that does eat away at you, and I think that's the thing. It's like he clearly supported Ukraine. That's where I think Lindsey Graham and Trump were very different. I think Trump has to appear that he supports Ukraine because that's the American system's choice right now, is to say that we support. But I think if he had more power to try to push America away, he would. But I think America has made a choice to continue to support Ukraine, and Lindsey Graham did not cross that line. And so I do feel like that really was one of the telling things where you're like, I think that ate at him probably way more. And that's why him coming back to America, it's like there was something there that never got said. And I think that's why all of a sudden he had a heart attack. Something inside of him just happened. I know
Right.
that's very vague, but and
It
it
is vague. It's not more vague than no, like just died suddenly. Like I think you can tell if someone had a heart attack. That's not, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, I'm not a doctor or any sort of, person who performs autopsies, but I find that very odd. It's just died suddenly. Okay, but we don't know of what. And I think that's very strange. Um, yeah, I just find that strange.
it is because even when they talk, so what the doctors are saying right now is that he died of a chaotic dissection, which ultimately means that somehow in his heart there was a tear, and basically he like it created what is like a heart attack, but it's not necessarily a traditional heart attack, but something in the lining of the vessels tore. And that's what I read, that's what I was doing my little bit of research on, that's what they're saying, that's what they call it. But even then, that's not like it's an effect, but it isn't necessarily the main cause of what would be a heart attack. And so that also is where it gets very weird, because it's like it is just all of a sudden. It was like they said, all of a sudden he had an illness and then died. So it wasn't like he had a just a heart attack. Because if he had a heart attack, they would just call that a heart attack. They say the man had a heart
Exactly.
attack. Like and when people have a heart attack, it's usually the symptoms of a sudden, they're not sick. That's the thing that's scary about heart attacks. They're
Exactly.
silent killers. All of a sudden, their arm goes like numb and starts tingling,
Hmm.
and you can smell toast, as they say. And then, boom, you have this heart attack, and it happens, and it's so sudden that. But like they said, he got sick all of a sudden. Like he
Exactly.
got
An
ill, and
illness. Yeah.
yeah,
A sudden and very quick moving illness, which sucks. That sucks. Like, and with, again, I no love for the guy, but I don't have any interest of speaking ill of the dead, really. And I certainly would never. I don't wish death on any human at all, ever. Um, there are some people that I wish would like go someplace else and stop doing what they're doing, but just like don't do it in my face is basically what I would like. Um, but I think what's super sad about it is it sounds like he was alone, which you can, be married or have kids or whatever and still feel lonely, but he was literally alone this whole time. No spouses, no kids. I don't know what brothers and sisters or whatever. I don't know, but what a sad way to go out, and what a strange legacy to leave, and for what?
those are the right words, Amani. I think that is the way I feel, and the reason why I think we both decided to talk about it. It just feels like there's a strange legacy that is like we're all kind of like sitting with it, and it's like we let this go on for so long. And this man, I mean, I think that's why I love storytelling. It allows us sometimes, once you examine a full life, to
Mhm.
really see what we were under the influence of. And I agree. I think with Lindsey Graham, there's always been rumors that many people believe he was a gay man. And I don't know. He made it his choice. And at the end of the day, I say this about being gay or being queer isn't a choice, but it is a
Right.
choice to live your truth. It is a choice to accept who you are, and to, and even in that choice, that there are many famous actors that are gay but choose to not be in the public. That is their choice. Like, it is still choices. It's not the choice of your sexuality, but it is your choice of holding it. And I think at the end of the day, I couldn't call Lindsey Graham a gay man because he didn't choose to own whoever that is. But it does fit in the narrative that if he was at the final moments of his life alone, I wonder if there were truths to that, because I feel like anytime I watched him, he just reminded me of this like Republican version of Leslie oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his last name. Hold on. Um
No worries. Take your time. We can edit in post.
We can. Leslie Jordan.
Ah,
Leslie Jordan from Will and Grace. Oh my God, he was the Southern queer little belle. And I just every time I saw Lindsey Graham, I was like, I don't know why. I feel like y'all are brothers from another mother. Like, it just he gave that energy off that I just there have been many, many people that have exposed that there are many Republicans that are very gay and hide those truths. And I think that that's
that's what's
a
so
big part of it.
poisonous. Yeah, exactly. Because let's be real. I mean, it's not like Leslie Graham was super hot or anything, but he's been a powerful person for a really long time. So if he wanted companionship of anything, he could probably have had it. And who knows what happened behind closed doors or whenever you go to whatever island or whatever. And this is the thing that I don't want to say sickens, but like makes me the most sad is that like it seems like the party that he was so staunchly a part of and going in all these loop-de-loos about facts and falsehoods and stretching the truth and all of that bending over backwards for a party that if he were not part of that party, then maybe he could have actually acted in good faith. Because, I mean, we've talked about this, but it's like the things, the attributes of a person that the party that he was a part of attacks the most probably would not allow for him or anyone to be honest and real. And I'm not even talking about just sexuality, just honest. And I feel like I, as a person, can't really, I mean, yeah, we all have secrets or whatever, but I can't imagine what it's like to constantly spread hate, not just about sexuality, but about anything, about something that actually is a part of you. If you're
Yeah.
constantly publicly saying, these people are monsters, these people don't deserve rights, these rights should be taken away. When you're saying that about some aspect of yourself, that's got to be pretty tough. Uh, and I think it's really unfortunate that there's such a powerful force that pushes people into that situation. Like, I don't know what the threats are like or what the shiny golden carrot is that has people continuing to go down this rabbit hole that ultimately ends with you either getting fired or dead a lot of the time. That just, I don't know, just as a human, like I don't blame any sort of single individual, but there's a system in place that forces that sort of unhealthiness. And it's kind of like it's kind of like they're trying to force onto the other people what they're actually doing to themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that that is why the Republican Party right now feels supremely inauthentic because they are they're almost living a staged production lifestyle every time they're in front of the camera or they're in their position, and they're almost taking it home. And I don't know anymore the difference between who they really are or not. Like as an actor and as a storyteller, one of the best things that you have to learn as an actor is how to not take it home with you after you're done performing. Like there's a part of you that you live with the
Absolutely.
work, but you have to know when you're not in the character, and you have to understand how to like come back to whoever this is. And whoever this is doesn't mean you, the version doesn't start, doesn't mean you don't change, but it's like, your actor versus your character. And it's really important because I think a lot of actors can struggle with that type of creative dysmorphia, if you will, and can get caught up in characters because you do, as your job is to truly literally become this on stage, on camera. You live in this thing, but you have to also know how to know who you really are deep down. And I think for a lot of the Republicans, they've been living in this charade, if you will, for so long, trying to uphold this vision for Trumpism to placate to a party that is MAGA influenced and hoping to sell this fake lifestyle that is so, I think, taking him down. And I think that's really what it is. It's just like, I mean, look at Mitch McConnell. I mean, we don't know if he's alive or not, but every report, the guy looks like he is just drained. Like he is drained of the bone. Like I'm like, that to me is what it's saying about Republicans. This is what you gave up. And like, yeah, you may enjoy your present fame for a moment, but as you're getting older, when you're dealing with your ancestors and spirits and things that are very different. I think old age is a I don't know. I'm not old. I'm only 39, so I can only see it from this point of view. But from what I gather, old age is a gnarly time, as a lot of old people will tell you, because I think there's a level of like, if you've lived with who you are, there are some people that age very gracefully. And I think for others, if you've been holding a lot of lies, as you get older, sometimes those moments become harder. And I just think for Republicans, there's a lesson in this, which is just be truthful, guys. Do you really agree with everything you're saying? Because if you don't, it's okay. You can just say you don't agree. And like, or is coveting the power that important? Because I think that's what I feel is the saddest thing that my empathy feels for Lindsey Graham is that in the end you coveted this power so much and your death is like it's in the wind now. It was a big day. People talked about it. They've already written the story. They're trying to tell you what it is, and they're already gonna elect somebody new. By next month, there will be another senator that will take his place. And will we really talk about Lindsey Graham from years from now? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that it simply is like he was. It saddens me. That's all.
It's very sad. And the Mitch McConnell thing, first of all, that's very weird. And let me just put this out there. I'm not um oh um sorry. Someone was calling me. Um I'm not a Democrat per se. Like I'm an independent. Like I just kind of I go for what seems right, and it just so happens that we live in a jankety two-party system, which is jank, because two parties is not that there's no way that everyone can live under a binary system like that. That's not possible, and that you have to pick a side is stupid. But it just so happens that I tend to lean more towards Democrats, and obviously against a lot of Republicans. But that notwithstanding, I was thinking recently about what's his name? Plattner, who had to drop his race. And it's sad, but I kind of thought if he were a Democrat, if he ran as a Republican, he probably like if he just switched it up and been like, I'm a Republican, then all of those allegations they probably would have let slide, and then he could be like a stealth Democrat. That's the strategy that I would use. But instead, he's actually taking accountability and not going to win his race. And granted, I'm not saying that I want anyone who is a sexual abuser to be in positions of power at all. Like, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying like it marks like a stark difference in who can be in power depending on what party you're running. And that seems unfortunate because I would prefer that everyone who's in positions of power is ethical and smart and honest and shit like that. Um, but yeah, I'm not like throwing a bone for him or anything. I'm just saying like how interesting that he had to accept accountability for these things and therefore isn't able to move forward. Meanwhile, on the red side of the aisle, there's a bunch of people with all that stuff, and either people say, "Oh, I don't believe they did that," even if they said it out loud, or have like actual investigations into these things proving that they have done these horrible, reprehensible actions multiple times. But somehow there's people on the other side who are just like, I don't think he did that, or I think they're the best ever, or they're super smart, or Democrats are ugly, or like whatever. It's like, how do we get back to a situation? I say back to like we've ever been in a situation where everyone is actually rated on just merit. Like there are good people. There are good people. There are smart people. There are people with great ideas. And somehow those people are purposely locked out of the entire process of what could make our society better. They're forced to shut down. They're silenced. It's getting absurd.